Hello, welcome to the first video of this YouTube channel for the podcast. If you've listened before, thanks for listening, and I'm glad you're here on YouTube. I decided I'm going to be making some additional videos and content for YouTube that's not on the podcast, but still semi-related, but maybe a little bit more personal stuff. And as I mentioned in one of my episodes, I just started taking the compounded semaglutide shot about 4 weeks ago now. And I wanted to do a little video because I know when I was trying to get started on it, I was doing a lot of research. And there's plenty of videos out there. I will say most of the videos are of women, I feel like. So I was missing out on that a little bit when I was looking for some videos a little more relatable. And a lot of the people in the videos I saw were a lot smaller than me to start with. So I just wanted to make this so if other people are out there and they're looking for someone who may fit more in line with me than other videos they've seen, or just tell you a little bit about my experience starting the Ozempic or compounded semaglutide shots and what it's been like for me, how I got started, how I got mine, and how much it costs, and just the basic things like that. So I've been on it about a month now. I took my 5th shot last week. I take my 6th shot this week. But last week I went up a dose. I was on 0.25 milligrams, and now I'm on 0.5. You titrate on the drug. It's called titration. You start out on a lower dose, then work your way up to the higher doses to see what works best for you. You may not even need to go to the highest dose. I'm sure, like many of you, you've seen advertisements on social media or anywhere you go online for different websites that are offering the Ozempic or Zepbound or Mounjaro or compounded semaglutide, which is the same as Ozempic. It's just, instead of it coming in a neat little super expensive pen, it comes in a little vial. This was the first vial. There's just a tiny bit left in this one, so I haven't thrown it away yet. But this was what the first vial looked like. It is just a little tiny thing, and it comes with needles. I have my used needles here. I keep them in a jar. You're supposed to dispose of them anyway, not just directly into the trash. But I kept them in a jar because I just want to see it fill up and watch my progress. But that was the bottle I got for the first month when I was doing the 0.25 milligrams and my first dose of the 0.5 milligrams. And then I just got my second. It's hard to open. This one they come in like a pill bottle, even though it's a little vial. So this is a compounded semaglutide that I got in my second order. It came in from a different pharmacy. This one said it came from a pharmacy in Ohio. The vial says Orlando, Florida, but the shipping, when it shipped, it came from Texas. But this bottle, they're different because they come from different compounding pharmacies. So this bottle is a lot smaller than this one, but this one, I don't know if you can see, it's not completely full. It's maybe less than a third of the way full, but this is the new bottle I'll use when I take the 0.5 milligrams. And before I get into any of the other stuff, while I have this out, I'll just tell you the process of doing it is simple. I might have felt a little scared at first about needles and having to inject myself with the needles, but it was very easy. The needle, I didn't even feel it. It went right in. It's very small. And I don't know, I thought it was fine, really. I never have an issue like when I get blood drawn, but I had never given myself a shot or a needle. So I was a little skeptical at first, but it was fine. So you just take your little vial. They give you some instructions to wipe it down with the alcohol pad, and then you wipe down the injection site with an alcohol pad, and you shake the bottle up to make sure it's mixed very well. And then you get your needle, you pull it up to the dose that you're doctor tells you to. For instance, I was on the 0.25 at the beginning, so I drew it up to 10 units, which is not very much at all. And then now that I'm on the 0.5 milligrams, I draw it up to 20 units. It goes all the way up to 50 units in the needles that I've been getting. I still have a way to go before I get to the top dose. Like I said, there was a little bit left in that bottle, so I didn't throw it away. The stuff is expensive. It's like liquid gold. They come in these little packages. They come through a mailer overnight, and I get mine through, and I'm sure you've seen the advertisement for them before. There's a million different companies that are doing this now. But I finally got mine from Ro.co. I'm sure you've seen their ads on even TV. I've seen their ads for the compounded semaglutide and other things as well. So it came overnight, and it comes with the 5 needles and your alcohol pads and the vial. It comes with ice packs. You're supposed to keep this in the fridge. So it comes with a bunch of ice packs. Mine came with, 4 or 5 of these. Even though it ships overnight, they still want it to be really cold when it gets to you. They were all still frozen when I got them. And then you just pop the vials in the fridge until your injection date. You do it once a week. As I said, I got mine from Ro.co. I did it because they had all of these great advertisements that were maybe a little too good to be true. I've been happy with my experience with them so far, but it's very expensive. The one positive about Ro is if you don't know if your insurance will cover Zepbound or Ozempic or the compounded versions, then they will work with your insurance. You give them your insurance information, and they will go back and forth with your insurance company to see if they cover it, and if you need a prior authorization, they work on getting that for you, or otherwise you can pay cash. And my insurance did cover it, but it's cheaper to pay cash because my copay was still going to be $400 every month. I didn't want to do that. That was for the compounded version. The Ozempic in the name brand that comes in the pens, that would have been close to $1,000 a month. Even with insurance, it was going to be, I don't remember exactly, very expensive anyway. The cheapest that I could get it through my insurance, I think, was the compounded, and that was $400 a month. So Ro advertises you can get your first month for $45. That's great and nice, but you should be aware that the $45, unless I'm mistaken, but this is how my experience was, is for the membership. Now, the membership doesn't include the cost of the medication. Yeah, you get the membership for $45, but then you still have to pay for the medication. And I paid $150 last month for the medication plus the $45. So it was about $200. It was a pretty good deal for the first month, even though it wasn't $45. But then I just got my second month's dose, and I got charged the membership fee for Ro, and I got charged for the medication. And the medication, I believe, was about, actually, let me go ahead and look it up because I want to be accurate. I paid $45. I got $100 off of the monthly subscription fee. That's for the ongoing care and treatment support. That's $145 a month. That's the subscription fee I was talking about, the membership fee. You pay that every month. That doesn't come with the cost of the medication. You have to pay for the medication separately. So I got $100 off on the first month. So that's the $45 they advertise. You can get your first month for $45. And that's true. You can get your first month of their subscription for ongoing care and treatment support for $45. But after that, it's $145 a month plus the price of the medication. Plus, on that first month where you only pay $45, you still have to pay for the medication. And I showed the vials earlier, and they have a different amount in them. So The first one I had was 1 milliliter of the medication, and the second vial was 2.5 milliliters of the medication. But I paid $150 for medication in the first month, and for this month, I paid $254. So altogether, I paid $400. Last month, I paid $200, so it doubled in a month. My medication doubled, the price doubled. I'm not sure if I go up to the next dose, which I believe is 0.75 milligrams, or it might just go straight up to 1 milligrams. So it can get expensive, especially if your insurance doesn't cover it. But now that I know I just paid the same exact price that I would pay with the copay of my insurance, I may change my mind about going with this company and switch to another one. Although, I'm sure as everyone has seen, there's a little bit of a moment of limbo right now with whether the compound versions are going to be available in the next coming months after the FDA declared them. This video is on February 24th, is when I'm recording. And I think it was just last week the FDA said that the Ozempic was no longer in shortage, which means that the special use authorization or the special permission that companies had to make the compounded version while Ozempic, the name brand, was in shortage, those rules may be changing. But the FDA did say that they weren't going to make those changes immediately. They were going to do it within the next. Companies were going to have, I believe, 60 days. If that's wrong, I will put it in the video text. Let's get into the progress now. I talked about the basics of how it gets here and the shot. It's not scary. It's very simple and basic. And I talked about the subscription, the way that I get mine, which is through Row, which is the subscription and then the cost of the medication. As of the last time I had weighed myself, I had lost 22 pounds in total. Last week was the slowest week I've had. I only lost 1 pound. The week before that, it was like 10. It's been going well. In 4 weeks, I lost 22 pounds. That's great. I could feel it in my shorts were getting looser. My shirts were fitting a little looser. And even in my desk chair that I'm sitting in now, I could feel the handles weren't squeezing me as much. So I had lost some weight. I'm not weighing myself every day. I'm taking my shots on Wednesdays. I'm weighing myself on Thursday mornings. The only real side effect I've had is, I would say I've had 2 side effects. One of them is good and one of them is not so good. The main side effect I've had, which is basically the point of the medication, is to curb hunger, and it's done a wonderful job at that so far. I'm not thinking about food throughout the day. Going throughout the day basically without thinking about food. If I get hungry, I'll eat, but I'm not forcing myself. And I'm not starving myself either. And I've still lost weight. But I'm not overeating, which I think is fantastic. And I get full quicker, which I think is the whole point of this medication and why people lose weight on it, because of what it does to your mind as far as curbing cravings. And the second, and I would say the more annoying side effect I've had, which I've already talked about, is constipation. I would say it's been worse since I went up to the 0.5 milligrams. For 2 weeks now, I've been taking fiber gummies every day. I even, for the first time ever, took a laxative. I took a Senna 2 days ago. I'm not sure how well it worked. I thought it would be like a bad situation where I would be running back and forth to the bathroom, but I haven't had that issue. I don't feel like I've lost as much weight right now. I'm feeling a little bloated from the constipation. As far as eating, like I said, I'm eating less. I've done keto and intermittent fasting before, and I lost over 80 pounds. That was about 3 years ago. So I'm not doing the full keto thing now, and I guess I'm intermittent fasting, but I'm not adhering to a strict schedule like I did before, but I'm only eating like once or twice a day. Usually once, because that's all I'm hungry. I've been keeping the carbs down. I haven't been doing keto If anything, I would say dirty keto, but that's even a stretch. I'm just trying to keep it under maybe 40 carbs a day, which I haven't even been getting anywhere close to that. The most I've had in one day probably has been like 20 carbs. Because a lot of the things I bought are reduced carbs or no carbs. I haven't changed things drastically. We'll see how my weigh-in goes this week, and I'll do another update video in case you want to follow along. If you have any questions, the email is in the bio, and you can shoot me a message, and I'll be happy to talk to you just about my experience, or if you have any questions or concerns. I have a friend who's also doing it with me. She's done the medication before, but she doesn't have the compounded version. She has the pens, but we're on the same dosage and we're doing it together. Maybe I can share some of her insights too if she doesn't mind. So that's it. I just wanted to give my insights. I know I was looking for insights when I first started. I'm not going to tell you my weight or anything until I lose a lot more, but you can see me. I'm a big guy and I want to lose more weight. I want to keep losing weight, and it's going well so far, and I hope the constipation issues resolve, and I hope I can figure out maybe a cheaper way of getting it, and if there are no issues in the coming months with the compounded versions and them possibly not being available. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, if you have questions, or just drop a comment below to let other people know that you're here, you're going through the same thing, we're all doing this together. So that's all I have to say for now. This was a lot different than the podcast I've been doing over the past couple of weeks, but I felt like this is a more personal thing, and it's better to talk in a video so you can see me and I can show you the things, and it's a little more intimate, I feel, than the podcast, just audio. We'll see. I may do some more videos like this. I'm not sure what I would do or what I would talk about. I have a lot to say, but I feel like this is the biggest thing that's going on in my life right now, and that I'm experiencing, that I had lots of questions about before I started. Maybe this video will be helpful to someone. If it is helpful to you, go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment to say if you liked the video or if you have any questions. And go find the podcast, Even Line, on any of the streaming platforms that you listen to podcasts on: Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Podchaser, Podbean. I don't know, there's too many to keep up with. And also here on YouTube, they're posted as well, just the audio versions. And if you have any ideas for future videos or podcast episodes, let me know. I keep saying this in the podcast and no one lets me know anything. And when I hear this in other people's videos and podcasts, I don't ever tell them anything either, so I can't complain too much, but I really want to know. I think this is, if you're spending the time to watch me, if you've watched this far, we've both invested time in this, and I want to talk about things that are important that people care about. I don't want to just talk about things for the sake of it. I don't like hearing myself talk, and I definitely don't like seeing myself on video, but here we are. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you want to hear about. Ask me questions. I'm a journalist in the daytime. My full-time job, I'm a journalist. I have lots of things to say about that within limits, because I'm not going to get into sharing opinions on things. You guys should know me as a neutral, unbiased reporter. That's how I want to portray myself and have. Turn on the notifications bell or not. I don't really care, but it would mean a lot. And remember that you never know what other people are going through. So even if you're having a bad day, don't let it out on other people. They may be having a worse day, and they just don't need that right now. And neither do you. Let's just all be a little kinder to each other. I was scrolling through X last night, and there's so much hatred and anger, and everyone's so mad at everyone else. All different sides of the aisle, all different corners of the country and of the world. Everyone is just angry and honestly hateful. And I don't think that's a good thing for anyone. So just be nice, smile, be nice to someone today. Say one nice thing, say a prayer about someone. I always like to say that I don't think I've ever told anyone this, but when I say a prayer, I always like to pray that if there's someone I know who I feel like needs it, I pray for them to have at least one good moment in their day, a moment of happiness, joy. I want them to smile, or if that's not possible, a moment of relief. Because everyone needs a little break every once in a while. And maybe this podcast and this video was a break for you. If it is, great. It was nice for me to just talk, and I'm really curious. I want to get this out there because I want to hear from other people who are going through the same thing as me. Did the constipation get better when you were on Ozempic? Did you stop taking it? How did you find out how to get it for a cheaper price? Things like that. Things that I haven't learned yet and still want to learn. I always want to learn. And I like teaching too. I used to want to be a teacher when I was a kid because of my favorite teacher. Shout out Miss Christie. I'm not going to say her last name. But my second grade teacher, who was the best, and decorated her classroom with smiley faces and was all about positivity. Like I just told you all, let's try to make someone else smile today or tomorrow, even if we're not having a good day, because then I believe in karma and it'll come back to us. Okay, I've said bye for 1,000 times. I'm like my grandmother. Hi, Granny, if you're watching this, who will literally walk out of the door with you as you're on your way to get into the car and keep talking all the way and say bye 5,000 times as you're walking to the car door and keep talking even after you close the car door. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thanks again for spending your time watching this if you did. All right, have a good one. And like I said, be kind. Don't be rude. Bye.